Good day, welcome to another edition of Spotlight on Brewster Schools. Eric Royce, your host, along with Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Valerie Henning-Piedmont, with Steve Jambor, the President of the Brewster Board of Education, and Victor Carlson, the Director of Business Services. This is the 2017-18 budget story. Good seeing you, folks.
Great to see you as well.
Residents in the Brewster School District go to the polls on the 16th of the month to ballot on a $95.4 million fiscal spending plan, a budget with a tax levy increase of 2%. Val, a lot of hard work went into this budget. Steve is here today, Victor's here today joining us as well. From the administrator's point of view, why should people consider this budget when they go to the polls?
The budget is an embodiment of our commitment to children. So a budget might only appear to be sort of what we need to run the district, but what we need to run the district is what we need to educate the children. So everything in the district and everything represented in the budget is in service to children. So when they look at that number, they really have to think about their own children in the district. They have to think about their grandchildren. They have to think about the properties here, and what they represent in terms of our value and commitment to educating all children well. So there are details, of course, that Mr. Carlson can drill down into more deeply, and obviously Dr. Jambor has been here for a number of years, so he's certainly seen a whole cycle of what a budget, some of the implications of creating a budget and some of the challenges associated with the budget. And certainly there are some challenges that you'll see associated with our budget, but we want our taxpayers to know that this is our vision of how we're going to educate all children well. This is the way in which we're going to ensure that we prepare children to exit this school district, prepare for life, work, and future learning. And everything that we're doing is to make sure that all of our children are successful.
Steve, Valerie talks about the past and the future. You've been around now for over a decade. Yeah. You've seen the budgets evolve, but yet for all the years in the Brewster School District, the Board of Education managed to keep those budgets in check.
Well, that's true. And in fact, Victor makes a point when he does the presentation of noting that we were below the cap before the cap began. So the cap's not the big deal for us. It's important, of course. But what Valerie is saying is very, very important, and that is there's a philosophy behind these numbers. There's a student story behind these numbers. And not that we're suggesting that you drill into them, but if you wanted to do so, the strategic coherence plan that we talk about is a philosophy for how to educate children, not only in the 21st century, but according to the values of this community. So the mere total doesn't tell you that story.
Victor, there are a lot of nuts and bolts in this budget. For the next few minutes, just go over some of the highlights for our viewers out there.
Oh, goodness. The total budget spending, $95.4 million, that's an increase of 2.9%. Most importantly, the tax cap that we always discuss, we're now in the 6th year of the tax cap. And as Dr. Jambor mentioned, traditionally we're always under the tax cap, but not only are we under the tax cap, we're significantly under the tax cap. One thing that we noted in this year's budget presentations is that over the past 6 years, we've been under the cap by a cumulative total of $1.1 million over the past 6 years. So it shows that we've not only complied with the tax cap, but we've beat it, and again, to the tune of $1.1 million. The budget process begins typically in November, December. We begin meeting with administrators, discussing all of our programmatic needs. Oftentimes we have to make difficult decisions, but now thankfully we have a one guiding force in our strategic coherence plan. Each of our decisions are based on the strategic coherence plan, and that helps guide us into making the decisions that we make.
Valerie, I know a key component of the budget deals with technology. And Brewster schools are way above here when it comes to technology as compared to some of its neighbors. There's money in this budget to keep that going.
Absolutely. We're going to leverage the Smart Schools Bond Act monies, which it absolutely helped us to increase the numbers of devices. So it allowed us to initiate a one-to-one, so every middle school and high school student has a device that's issued to them so that they are engaged in the kind of learning that we expect them to be engaged in, and that's going to help them, as they leave the system. So they'll use those devices to conduct research. They will use those devices to access assignments and to complete assignments using Google Classroom. They'll be able to collaborate together, which is a key component of our strategic coherence plan and a disposition we want all of our children to have. So they'll be able to access information, to use it, to think critically, which is so important, and be able to process information, make sense of it, and be innovative in the use of that information. So it is a huge part of how we see how children are going to function in a 21st century learning environment, which is very different from us, right? I had a typewriter, I know about you.
Yeah. I still do.
You still do. And so the Smart Schools bond, will help us because it's a huge, it's a huge expenditure to have to get, to get a device in every student's hand. Our teachers have devices. At the K-5 level, each classroom has a laptop cart and or a iPad cart that allows them to use those tools appropriately and most importantly, more age appropriately. So there's also professional learning that's critical in all of this. We just can't hand over a device to a student or to an educator and say, okay, go at it, you have all you need. So there's a whole array of learning associated with what does it mean to function in a digital environment that's very different from how you function if you're just using textbooks.
What about class size? Does the budget maintain that class size?
We have a district-approved policy around class size. We were able to add an additional teacher to our at the C.D. Starr Elementary School, intermediate school, because our class sizes have increased. We have a lot of families who are interested in coming in and living in Brewster. And that happens right after the school year ends. So we start seeing an increase in our enrollment, around July. So that's very important to us. We want to be able to create those environments where children are working in small groups in their classrooms. They're working independently. They're not sitting in rows where the teacher is standing in the front of the room. So in order for that type of learning environment to take root and be, kind of the way in which we see lots of classrooms functioning, we absolutely have to maintain the class sizes that allow that to happen.
Steve Valerie talks about, maintaining class size and the fact that people are moving into the Brewster schools. You look in the Sunday Times, in the real estate section, it says right there, in the Brewster School District.
Yeah, it's a selling feature.
That says something.
It says a lot above and beyond, the real estate value that I think we're contributing. I think when I go around now to 54 school districts in the areas that I serve through Westchester Putnam School Boards Association, we hear a lot of positive things about Brewster schools. And it's an attractive place to bring families, which is fantastic. My family moved up here 35 years ago, and there are even more looking to move into the neighborhood. That's a gratifying feeling. I also wanted to piggyback on what you were saying too, Valerie, about there's a hardware piece, that's the technology, there's a software piece, there's a peopleware piece. I know that's not a word, but you get the picture. So our teachers, thanks to Valerie's leadership, are learning how to use these new spaces, these new technologies, to get our children firmly into the skills set of this century. And that goes way beyond the technology of buying the machine.
We're going to talk more about the budget. Once again, that vote is May 16th, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. at Brewster High School. We're going to take a break, though. The other day, a group of seasoned citizens visited the John F. Kennedy Elementary School. Valerie, no, she's not a seasoned citizen. Neither is Steve. They were there as well. So is Victor. But it was so great seeing those people. They love to come to school.
Sure.
They absolutely do, and we love to have them. They're an absolute wonderful addition to what it means to, have children exposed to not only those educators and others who are in their building every day, but others. Some of them have grandparents, some don't, and this is a great way for them to have that older, wiser, person who's just there to help and be helpful.
And many of them even volunteer, Steve. They even come into the school and volunteer besides.
That's the Brewster spirit.
Okay, let's go back and say hi to our friends. John F. Kennedy Seasoned Citizen Luncheon. You know it's springtime when the seasoned citizens visit the John F. Kennedy Elementary School for the annual Seasoned Citizen Luncheon. Kathy Ash, the cafeteria manager here in the Brewster Schools. John Conroy, the assistant principal at JFK. Kathy, it's so great having these people visit each and every year, and they enjoy it so.
It is. It's fun. It's a nice, and for me, this is my 7th year doing this. It's very nice to see some of our folks returning. It's a great event.
One little side story over here, and they do have special requests, don't they?
Yeah, we got a special request this time. Didn't think about allergies. We didn't ask anybody, do they have any allergies, but they asked, and we are accommodating. So.
Even seasoned citizens have food allergies. Brewster Schools accommodate as well. John, I know you love this as well, welcoming them to our school.
It's always a wonderful event. The great thing about it is that while we at JFK consider ourselves a JFK family, we take advantage of the opportunity to remind the kids about the bigger picture in life and about others that live in their community. It's not just about JFK. And all of our students give up the cafeteria. They're all well aware. They eat in the classrooms as a result, and that is our way of giving back to the seniors. We sacrifice a little, makes them a little uncomfortable, so that the seniors have an enjoyable event. And that's our way of giving back.
We're looking around the cafeteria, Kathy, and we see a temporary wall has been built. What's going on?
I think Mr. Conroy has to answer that one for you.
Mr. Connor, what's going on?
The wonderful thing that's going on here is thanks to all of you amazing people that live in this district, that we have a whole renovation in our entire building. We have a brand new wing with 6 classrooms being built as we speak. This cafeteria is being expanded. That is what the wall is for behind you. And we are renovating the entire interior of the remainder of the building. We need to bring ourselves into the 21st century.
Big news at JFK.
Big news. Big news.
We thank you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Kathy Ash, John Conroy. Shall we meet some of the seasoned citizens? Come on this way. Let's check it out. Dorothy, welcome to the John F. Kennedy School. You've been back year after year. Why?
Just to support the children, really. Because I think they do a wonderful job entertaining us, and we should come out and back them up, really.
Remember when your little grandson was a little tot, and now he's a big middle schooler.
That's right. No, now he's in a different school, but I come here anyway, just to support the kids.
Have
Okay?
yourself a wonderful spring.
Thank you. You
One of the
too.
great senior citizens here. And how are you doing today?
Fine, I'm doing very good.
Enjoying the meal?
Yes, I love the salad, yes.
Do you like visiting the school? Why?
I have a volunteer at the school here Monday. You know, I volunteer at the school on Monday at the first graders. And now I heard about this and I came.
Well, that's wonderful. Well,
Yeah.
enjoy and have a wonderful spring.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
As I can say, we have seasoned citizens who volunteer at the school. Some have grandchildren at the school, and they all come back. And the Brewster School District always looks out for its seasoned citizens' friends. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a good day. Victor, one of the components of the budget deals with some sort of increases in health insurance.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, we have an increase in our health insurance premiums for next year, much like all companies across the country are experiencing increases in health insurance contributions. Also, we're fortunate to have some relief in the pension contributions for our staff. However, the health insurance contributions are far exceeding the benefit of the pension relief that we're experiencing. So all told, I believe our employee benefit budget is increasing about 2.5%.
Okay.
So that's one component that's affecting our budget. Also, we have some staffing increases, which we're fortunate to be in a position where we're able to increase our staff for some of our neediest students. Again, instruction probably is leading to the largest increase in our budget. One other increase in our budget this year that is new to this year, or newer I should say, we're beginning to make principal and interest payments on our construction. So as you look around, and beginning in September, we're going to have 2 new additions, one at JFK, one at CV Starr. In 17-18, we're going to begin making principal and interest payments on the construction costs that we're incurring today.
We're going to take our cameras and microphones around the district before the end of this school year and show you exactly some of that work that's going on. We know that Steve and Valerie just the other day visited it. How are things there?
It's extraordinary. starting with the CV Starr Intermediate School, where we're taken to the new additions, those classrooms. They're the identical footprint on the lower level and the upper level. But what's wonderful about that in terms of how it represents 21st century learning is that there are partitions between classrooms. So, it allows two teachers to come together, again, to collaborate, to build opportunities where children, are going beyond their own immediate classmates and classroom environment, that they're able to, do more larger group instruction, more project-based learning, which involves, lots more spaces where they can, they can create, write, they can build things, maker spaces, which are a big component of 21st century learning.
Sure.
So that's a really wonderful architectural addition that really represents those kinds of learning environments that are very important for children to have. Classrooms have to look very differently if we want learning to be different for children and if we want to prepare them. So I envision that space kind of like a Google, office, where you have mobile. First of all, the furnishings are mobile. We spent a lot of time, Mr. Carlson, Ms. Cohen, Dr. Zamperlin, Dr. Young, looking at furnishings that are mobile, portable, easily movable, connected, sort of like, furnishings that you can put two desks together, not like the big ones you and I sat in where
Sure.
you didn't move because they were nailed down to the floor, but very mobile and agile furnishings and very appropriate for little people. So that was the first stop. Then we walked over. It was a beautiful day yesterday, unlike today. We walked over to the JFK extension and were wowed. We were wowed. We saw the production of those classrooms again, which are going to be really amazing. The new additions. We saw the concession stand, which our athletic families are going to love. Our fields and our properties for athletics get a lot of usage because that's a very valuable part of the experience of being a student in this district. So we were all just in awe of what's taken place and how beautiful it's going to be and how much we appreciate and thank our taxpayers for giving us an opportunity to be able to have this construction project.
And Steve, as you have said time and time again, every facility in the Brewster School District has undergone this rebirth, renaissance, thanks to the taxpayers out there.
Oh, without a doubt. And I say this with deep gratitude. I talk about Brewster Pride all the time, but by the conclusion of this construction project, we will have literally, together as a team, rebuilt, refurbished every square foot of our property. That's extraordinary. And certainly, as Valerie was saying, when you walk through these places yesterday, it's not just rebuilding things, it's undergoing the transformation of American education right here. Brewster's at the cutting edge. So we invite everyone, when the time is right, to come up and take a look. This is what you've invested in on behalf of your children, and we thank you.
Another organization that really benefits the Brewster School District is the Brewster Education Foundation. For 33 years, they have been out there helping the school in so many different ways. The other night, there was the gala held at the country club. Hundreds of people were there to recognize some very special educators. I know you folks were there. It was a good night.
It was a
Great
wonderful night. Mr. Carlson?
Yeah, absolutely. It's always a good event. Always, the mood, obviously, it's all about students. Every person in that room is there for students, and it's always a fun night, and also an opportunity to look back and to recognize some of the hardest working people in the district each year in each of the buildings.
And when you think over $1.2 million donated to the Brewster School family from the Brewster Ed Foundation over these years, no other district has anything like this.
Well, and it goes such a long way. It helps, I mentioned some of those innovative project-based learning kinds of opportunities. Many of our teachers apply for those grants. So there are, larger grants, and they're also they've developed is sort of like these mini or micro grants that can occur throughout the school year. But these are opportunities for teachers to get more equipment, to go on a field trip, to bring in a speaker, to get a classroom set of a particular type of calculators. I mean, any projects that really support instruction and learning, in a very innovative fashion. And they collaborate with the district, meaning the BEF organizers, to see what are some of the things you're focused on. In our first conversation, which would be no surprise to you, Eric, we talked about the strategic coherence plan and how we're laying the foundation for that. We actually work with them, Ms. Gosh and I, in revamping their entire application so that we integrated the language of the strategic coherence plan. So that's very important, that we sort of connect the dots throughout the system, and they've also, been just really wonderful and very, collaborative in that. They also provide scholarships. So this is, we have our scholar night coming up, next month, and a lot of scholarship monies from the gala and other fundraising events that they participate in or that they organize or support our students. So we are very grateful for them.
Okay, congratulations and thank you one and all for those who supported the gala, and thank you to the Brewster Ed Foundation for a job well done. Part of the budget, Victor, deals with buses. As we like to joke, we've said it many times this year, Valerie doesn't run the school, Steve doesn't run the school, neither does Victor. It's the transportation department.
Absolutely.
Because without buses, the children can't get to school.
Right.
And there's a $750,000 item on the ballot coming up on the 16th asking for your support for buses. Why?
Each year, and we've been fortunate for each of the past 4 years, that the community has supported Proposition number 2, which is in response to our fleet replacement plan. So we've taken a systematic approach to replacing our fleet. It's an inevitable fact that at some point in time these buses are going to come out of service, much like your own car eventually comes out of service. So what we're proposing is to purchase 8 vehicles for next year of various sizes, again due to different geographics of our boundaries. And what we are attempting to do is to level out our commitment to buses rather than have them be erratic, which they've been in the past. One thing that we keep hitting on each time we present the fleet replacement plan is that there were 23 vehicles purchased in a single year about 16 years ago. So with that huge bubble of buses,
Right.
we're very concerned that they will fall out of service around the same time, which will provide a significant disruption to our service. So rather than sit around and wait for that to happen, we've been proactively attempting to replace our fleet, which maintains a level commitment to our buses.
And as Jack Coxon and I have talked many times on this show, how strict the New York State DOT is when it comes to these buses. If there's one little crack or a chip or something they don't like, the bus comes out of service.
Yep.
It does. We have about 12 mechanics, I believe, in our bus garage, and they work meticulously to maintain the fleet. So they do about as much as anyone can possibly do to maintain the structure of those buses. But after a while, I mean, living in the Northeast,
Yeah.
there's a lot of wear and tear with salt, and there's a lot of sort of curvy, roads and inclines, and so that takes a toll on the buses. And so there's only so much we can do, but buses are kind of like a consumable. I mean, at one point or another, they're going to have to come out of circulation. We can only get so much use out of them. So we're really grateful to Dr. Jambor, the board, Mr. Carlson and Mr. Coxon and Ms. Smith for really looking at how to create a plan that really represents how often and how important that fleet is.
So Proposition 2 calls for a $750,000 expenditure on the ballot on the 16th. This time of the year, it's a very almost melancholy. Young people are going off to college, young people coming in, going into the next school, the next grade. But at the high school level, many student athletes are signing letters of intent to take part in the next phase of their lives, playing sports, being educated at some of the finest colleges and universities around. We've had a number of letters of intent signing this year, a couple more the other day. That must make you guys feel great. Just
Dr.
knowing.
Jambor?
It is, yes, it's gratifying. It rounds out the picture. We're committed to our motto. It's not just a bunch of words. We'd like every student to be a success. And for some, it will be down that road.
We're going to go back and check out and congratulate the latest 2 students, a young lady, a young gentleman. We'll be right back. Letter of intent signing time once again here at Brewster High. This time, softball, volleyball, and golf. Dean Barato, that's quite a variety.
We have another two of our outstanding athletes who represent us very well, who've done a great job, particularly on the golf course, softball field, volleyball court. So we're very pleased once again.
And we're talking about Jordan Sanchin and Nicole Rosner. Shall we make it official, guys? Why don't you sign that letter of intent? Well, it's now official. A round of applause. Jordan, Lemoyne College in Syracuse. Why'd you pick Lemoyne?
It was the best fit for me. I love the school, playing golf there, as you know, and I love the coach. So it's a good fit.
Golf, great sport. People of all ages play golf. How did you get hooked on it?
My mom. She dragged me to the course every day, and I played golf every single day. And I just got really good, and I loved it.
So you're pretty good at it.
Yeah.
Well, we wish you the very, very best of luck. Jordan turning in his Brewster Bears outfit to become a Lemoyne Dolphin. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And my friend over here, Nicole Rosner, off to Skidmore in Saratoga.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Yeah.
What are you looking forward to at school?
It's a really good academic school, and I really like the location and the softball coaches.
Same question I asked my friend Jordan. How'd you get involved in softball and volleyball?
I've been playing softball since I was really young, and I started pitching, and then I started volleyball in middle school, and I really liked it.
You guys are good friends, I understand.
Yeah.
Well, that is so cool. We wish you the very, very best of luck. By the way, Nicole will be becoming a Skidmore thoroughbred. Very appropriate, right? Should we say hi to Mom and Dad? Moms and dads, coaches, come on down over here. Mr. and Mrs. Sanchin, Maria and Nick. What does this mean to you guys? His son's going off to school like this, a golfer, who knows? Maybe someday on the pro circuit.
We'll see, one step at a time, right?
But he tells me that it was you who dragged him to the golf course for all those years.
This is the gift that the job gave back, for sure. Yeah, he came to work with me every day, stood on the first tee, played with anybody who would let him play, learned from people who have been playing a long time, and took it to where he's going now.
What about you, Nick? What does this mean to you?
Oh, just very proud moment. Very proud of him.
Well, we wish you the very best. And as a young man, I understand, who's a teacher in the Brewster School District, who wants to say a few words as well. Big brother over here.
Yeah.
What does this mean by your little brother over here, huh?
Well, I remember taking him out on the golf course when he was this tall and shorter than me. And, he always loved it, and he's continued to love it. And we still go out and play as much as we can during the summer. And it's fun. And we're going to miss him when he's at school. But like my dad said, we're really proud of him. We're really excited. So, yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next friend who's going to come down is Lisa Delzio. Lisa, come on down for a sec. Lisa is the coach of this young lady. What kind of a super gal is she?
Well, Nicole's not only a super fantastic softball player, she's just a fantastic young lady. So this is very bittersweet because I'm so happy for her. She's earned this. She works hard every day at practice. She's a fantastic leader this year as a senior, but it's bittersweet because I lose her. So I wish her the best. She's close enough. We can sneak up and see her, but she's been a fantastic asset to this program.
And as Dean Barato always says, these are all-around student athletes. Yes. Students first,
always.
Athletes second.
Absolutely, and that's how Nicole is. She is, she's studious. She's a studious softball player, too. Her apathy for the game of softball is incredible. She's going to make an incredible coach someday when she's done playing. So.
Okay, Coach, you heard that? First time. Mom and Dad, congratulations. What does this mean to you, sir?
It's an amazing moment right now. The fact that my daughter is now graduating from high school and moving on to college. It's wonderful. Wonderful.
And Mom?
Very proud of her. She works very hard.
Oh, it's so cool, too. She's so close to home. A couple hours away. Far enough away, but yet close enough away, right?
Correct. Just a couple.
I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more about Jordan and Nicole in the weeks to come. Once again, Congratulations. One more round of applause. The latest two letters of intent at Brewster High School. Well, that's our future, guys, huh?
It is.
Letters
Very
of
bright.
intent signing, and who knows how many kindergartners and first graders 12 years from now will be right there.
Absolutely. We expect they will be, and all that we've talked about with regards to the budget and the values that are embodied in that budget is sort of laying the pathway for that to occur.
One, let's not call it a problem, situation, come up with a word that strikes you best. The lack of people who take the time to come out and vote. Why, Steve?
I don't like to blame, but I like to identify causes. I think the 2% cap has taken the individual voter in their own mind out of the ballgame. So long as they see we're compliant with the cap, they say, okay, done deal. Yes, but I had the teacher from China live with me for 9 months 1 year, and she saw our voter turnout, and she was shocked, representing a country that's starving for democracy. And it reminded me of the values of this country. And I don't think we should let it turn on the key of the cap. I think it goes back to something that Valerie said before. Our budget is a statement of philosophy for everyone's child. Vote because you believe in that philosophy. Don't worry about the dollars and cents per se. Yes, they're taken care of. We are tax compliant. But tell folks that you're proud of the Brewster schools and their philosophy for your children. Vote.
Okay, Val?
I think, again, we can't chance. I mean, our public has done such a great job that they passed, they voted for the construction project. They've been generous, we can't leave to chance that any of this, can be at jeopardy or at risk. So we absolutely need, that commitment from our taxpayers, and that we appreciate that they think that we're doing all the things that, appear to be right, but we also want to make sure that we preserve what we value and we hold to so dearly in terms of our goals for our students, and which is our future, not only here in Brewster but across the country and the world. So this is a big deal. A vote is a big deal, and we hope that our public comes out and supports the vision that we have for how our budget is going to support our children.
And Victor, as Valerie said, it's democracy. People have the right to vote. People are fighting all over the world for that right to vote today. And when you have 10%, 11%, 12% of the electorate coming out to vote, you say, people, get out there and vote.
Yeah, I would say it is concerning, and as you can see from that graph, there's been a steady decline over the past 6 years, and in my opinion, much like Dr. Jambor, it's tied to the tax cap. Since the inception of the tax cap, voter participation has declined in each of the past 6 years. So it is concerning. One of what we attempted this year was to revise our budget statement. We're hopeful that the community will inform themselves, go to our website, look at all of our past presentations, all of our budget documents, including our budget statement, which includes a lot of qualitative information about the district that will help them become more informed and hopefully get out to vote.
And again, if you have any questions, last-minute questions, contact Dr. Henning, contact Victor, give Steve a call. He's in the phone directory. Just questions. Ask the questions now.
And actually, Mr. Carlson created 2 podcasts. So that information that was presented at our board of education presentations is available on podcasts. So you don't have to, if you missed a board meeting, please go to our website and listen to the podcast. And that provides more details and explanation. But obviously, an email to any of us is also an easy way to get information.
Okay, so once again, the vote is May 16th, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. at Brewster High School. The budget totals $95.4 million. The second proposition asks for voter support to purchase new school buses. There are 2 school board candidates running for 2 seats, Glenn Niles and Kerry Cunningham. We thank you so much for joining us for this edition of Spotlight on Brewster Schools. For Steve Jambor, Victor Carlson, Valerie Henning Piedmont, I'm Eric Gross. Remember, get out and vote. May 16th, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. at Brewster High. Until next time, bye-bye now.
Thank you.